Good morning, everyone. It's Kelly here from Energetically Inspired. So today's healing tester, it's been coming up a little bit in a program that I'm also running, but also a program that I'm in, and it's the subject of the week. So I thought it was quite an interesting thing to sit there and reflect with one of my participants. And it is a core factor in relation to us healing deeply, right? And it's the forgiveness point. In the aspects of forgiving, right? So a lot of people think when we're forgiving someone that we need to be able to condone someone's behaviors or accept and condone what we did as well. But that's not actually the truth behind the forgiveness. Forgiveness is about actually energetically releasing the charges that you hold on yourself, right? So even if it's somebody else that's done something, learning to forgive them and letting go of that allows us to let go of the charges we're holding. It's like us eating the poison and expecting someone else to be suffering for it, but we're actually the ones that are holding on to that. So that forgiveness aspect is truly deep in allowing us to let go of the attachment we have to a situation that's occurred in our past, because that situation has then got effect on us moving forward. It really anchors into us and allows us to be controlled partly by it, because we're continually triggered and reactive and still blaming and judging the situation, right? So when we forgive something, we need to sit in a space of acceptance, non-judgment, right? But actually awareness and consciously understanding in a bigger view of things. What did we get from that situation? Let go of the story, connecting into the feeling of it, right? What did we gain in that situation? And sometimes it's really hard to see that, because some of the worst things can happen and it's really hard to understand that. But we gain strength, and it allows us to meet new people or take on new courses. And most people will tell you some of the biggest pivoted points in their lives have come from their biggest points of pain, right? So learning to forgive ourselves allows us to, one, have self-love on ourselves. It allows us to understand that we're human, and letting go and beating ourselves up over something that happened and we can't change that from happening, because that really is an anchoring us into that 3D dimension, a lower vibrational space. And we want to raise our vibration. We want to heal and manifest and create and connect to our essence and our soul's desires. We truly can't get there if we are holding ourselves down in places of non-acceptance and not being able to let go and forgive. So today I want you to stop and think, what can I forgive and how can I forgive? Who can I forgive? And again, it's not condoning the behavior, but actually starting to see things with larger eyes and really going, what did I gain from that? And even if you can't see what you gained from that, or really understand that somebody really did wrong by you, hurt people. So maybe you don't know the full story of what created that. Is that they've been really badly hurt themselves, and it's just a default mechanism within them to do that? Or were they abused as a child themselves, or neglected, right? There's so many parts and key aspects that sometimes we need to stop and go into that almost role play and acceptance that there's something bigger going on. Sometimes it's a massive chemical imbalance, right? Where they're chemicals are so out of balance within the brain that they're not processing things correctly, that they're in really erratic anxiety. They almost have a triggered personality where they fuse up. They just don't stop and think. They're actually really triggered by their fight and flight and freeze. So they, might have been in that fight mode, and they can't control their impulses, right? And so that can be a chemical imbalance, something going on inside of them that we don't actually understand. So having that unconditional love allows us to step into that true place of being more open-eyed and thinking there is more to that for us to be able to truly allow and forgive, right? And so that is really it's a core essence of us letting go. Hey, Shannon. Really letting go and moving forward and growing and healing is learning to truly forgive ourselves, truly forgive the things that have happened in our past so we can move forward and let go. And when I did some of my forgiveness processes, I actually almost role played it. So I imagined myself writing a letter to the person, or I imagined things that may have happened to them as a child. So it gave me more compassion towards their situation and why they were the way they are. Why did they act in such a way towards me? Because again, these people might not want to expose that side of themselves, or may not even remember some of the most painful things that happen to us when we're young. We create a black hole in our memory around because we don't want to go back there. So understanding that they may not know some of the real depths of their own pain, and again, hurt people. If we are, going through some traumatic times in our lives, and we're really stressed, and we been through a lot of abuse, or we're chemically imbalanced and living in a fight and flight mode, we may have responded in ways that it's hard for us to, but understanding that we were human and that we've been through stuff too, that people need to actually have compassion around that stuff. We don't need to expose and explain our whole story, or sit in a place of like, okay, we're victims and justifying in such a way, but just having understanding and compassionately understanding allows us to forgive that space. And so there's some amazing healing meditations that can be done around this as well. I've done the aspecting where I imagine sitting in front of myself or in front of that person, writing a letter, maybe calling them up and saying, listen, hey, this situation allowed me to grow in such magical ways. I want to forgive you, but ask you to forgive me, or ask for yourself to forgive yourself for holding on to that for so long. So there's lots of aspects around this space that forgiveness is huge, and it is a big key point to us forgiving, releasing, moving on, raising our vibration, and creating the life we want. Because if we can't let go of our past, we're allowing it to continue to control our future, control us, trigger us, and anchor us down in that space. So if everyone or anyone I can highly recommend is do some work around your forgiveness. It's something I've incorporated in my program because it's super, super important for us to be able to move forward. And they've actually done studies. So when I did the unlimited courses, so raising our vibration in magnificent ways, which allowed me to create, it was a huge thing. They've actually done studies and put things on people's brain waves and watched their skulls. It's going through different processes, say different types of meditations, and actually feeling into the alpha brain waves and the theta brain waves and all these things, and the different heightened states of their vibration, right, while they're going through these. And they've seen these, a couple of people, like when they've done hundreds of people, would spike at a certain process, and they went back and reviewed this and realized it was actually them truly learning to forgive and let go of a situation, whether it was themselves or someone else, actually allowed their brain waves to raise to such a high vibration. It was compared to what they would look at as Buddhas who had been doing meditation for 60 years, right? So they've seen the power in forgiveness itself, in the ability to us to actually raise our vibration and truly surrender into our path and acceptance of everything happens to us for a reason. Whether it's horrible and it's, it's hard to get that sometimes. It truly is, because some things you can't condone. It was wrong. But we got to accept it to move on. And accept it is in letting go of the pain and the poisons that we are holding on to. So understanding why forgiveness is really important. And when I realized that, I did a lot of work around that, around my abuser and the people that triggered me and the people that didn't support me, but also around my own reactions, and owning that and realizing I was only human in those situations when I went through those deepest and core, painfulest parts of my lives. But they also allowed me to be on my path, find my essence, find my truth, expand myself into greatness and inspire others. So I don't regret those situations in any way, because they led me to where I am today. They allowed me to be able to accept my path with greater intensity, you know. So I just hope that that's something that will help you guys today around this piece, because I've seen it popping up a few places, and forgiveness has been a big part of my journey, is learning to forgive me but others as well. Even forgive my bank account for not having the money it had in it, and forgive, you know, all those things, because we can let those things go. When we truly let go of that part of ourselves, it allows magic to come in and higher vibrational space and energy to come in. So I would encourage you guys to look at, what can you forgive, who can you forgive, and how can you go about those processes to heal yourself. If you need more work around this, definitely reach out, because that's, you know, something I've done a lot of work in, and would love to help you guys in any way I can. So that was my share for today. Love and light from Kelly at Energetically Inspired. Bye.